Daily Trust News Center. This is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, EFCC chairman wants review of Electoral Act to strengthen fight against vote buying. UK court convicts Ike Ekweremadu wife Beatrice for organ harvesting. Wheat farmers in Jigawa raise alarm over threat to this year's cultivation. On the foreign scene, Ethiopia appoints senior Tigray People's Liberation Front official as head of interim government. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for joining. And now the details. Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Abdurrashid Bawa, wants a review of the Electoral Act to expand the scope of the anti-graft agency's role in tackling the menace of vote buying and selling during elections. The EFCC boss, who raised the concern while hosting management of Media Trust Limited, also promised to work with Media Trust platforms to reach out to Nigerians on the Commission's anti-corruption crusade. The report.
Recounting the EFCC's battle with perpetrators of vote buying and selling at the just concluded elections, Abdurrashid Bawa wondered how politicians employ means of evading operatives to commit electoral crime, just as he lamented the limitation of the agency in dealing with the situation due to lack of adequate provisions in the Electoral Act.
Provisions of Section 126 of the Electoral Act, find it very, very difficult to prove, the issue of inducement, more so because the law says that it is an activity of inducement or trying to, coerce somebody into voting for candidate A rather than B, but only within 300 meters.
Bawa says he is not deterred by antics of his detractors in the fight against corruption in the country, as he is determined to lead agencies' operatives in tackling the monster, especially in public procurement, amongst others.
Currently, we are investigating two ministries. I'm digressing a bit. Two ministries where double payments were made. In one of the ministries, double payments cumulatively on about 20 contracts of over 4 billion naira. These are contracts that were done, way back 2018. And then some group of people, so bold, they came up with the same narration, removed the documents from the file, forged them, and then of course in conspiracy with a lot of civil servants, they raise vouchers again and pay. How can that happen if you have a digitalized procurement processes?
The EFCC chairman, while assuring the visiting Media Trust management of robust collaboration in strengthening the fight against corruption, congratulated the group on the emergence of Trust TV, which he says has been supportive in the anti-corruption fight.
Regarding our relationship with the Trust Media, I think it has been robust. We have been making efforts to ensure that we are with you in terms of publications that we are making almost on weekly basis. And just as you have said, if you want to talk to this part of the country, then you have to talk through the Trust Media Group.
Bawa headed the investigation against former Minister of Petroleum Resources Dizani Madueke and her associates in 2015. He was appointed substantive EFCC chairman in February 2021. Shapir Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu, his wife Beatrice, and their doctor have been convicted of organ trafficking in the first verdict of its kind under the Modern Slavery Act in the United Kingdom. Ekweremadu, 60, his wife Beatrice, 56, and Dr. Obinna Obeta, 51, were found guilty of facilitating the travel of a young man to Britain with a view to his exploitation after a 6-week trial at the Old Bailey. The jury said that Ekweremadu, his wife, and their doctor criminally conspired to bring the 21-year-old Lagos street trader to London to exploit him for his kidney. The prosecutor, Hugh Davis, KC, told the court that the Ekweremadus and Obeta had treated the man and other potential donors as disposable assets, or spare parts for reward. Davis said that the Ekweremadus entered an emotionally cold commercial transaction with the donor, adding that the behavior of Ekweremadu showed entitlement, dishonesty, and hypocrisy. Ekweremadu, Obeta, and Beatrice all denied any knowledge of the alleged conspiracy. The judge, Justice Jeremy Johnson, will pass sentence at a later date. People's Democratic Party women and youth support groups in Kaduna State have staged a peaceful protest against the outcome of the Saturday's governorship election result in the state. The group expressed dissatisfaction with the Independent National Electoral Commission over its inability to make reference to its portal, where they claimed the result is in their favor. The group also lamented on the issues of results cancellation in many local government areas during the election, adding that if issues like these are addressed, the outcome will be in their favor. The group says it has written to INEC for the immediate review of the governorship results in order to know who the people of Kaduna State voted for.
We are still standing with our own heart, and we are very bitter in our heart because of what is happening. They asked us to come and vote, and they have given the person that they want. Why did they tell us from beginning that we should come and vote?
At least if the Electoral Act, everybody knows that the Electoral Act stipulates that once the margin, the difference in the margin is below the cancelled vote, that vote should even be declared as inconclusive. That is even regardless of the fact that so many of our votes were deliberately reduced in various local governments. Now we said they should refer to the RF, which was created by the INEC. It was INEC. RF is not PDP's property. It's not anybody's property. This was what they used the taxpayer money of over 300 billion to put in place for this same purpose. And then you are jettisoning it just to serve a particular interest.
As a body to do justice for the right people that win this election. That's what we want. Yes, I'm confident that the court is going to do justice, because I know that God will stand in the courts.
A group of accredited observers has alleged that the March 18, 2023 governorship and State House of Assembly elections in Bauchi State were characterized by vote buying, overvoting and violence. They stated this in Bauchi while briefing journalists shortly after the declaration of the winners by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Adamu Imam reports.
Addressing journalists, the observers led by the Center for Child Care and Youth Development says the elections fell below the provision of the Electoral Act. Represented by Rebecca Maimato, the center alleged that irregularities trailed the elections in many local government areas of the state.
Of vote buying, result sheets, alteration, and malpractices in entire Bauchi State election for prosecution. Finally, INEC should also ensure that local governments with election irregularities and malpractice are cancelled.
Maimato called on INEC to revisit areas where widespread malpractices were recorded during the election.
INEC, on their own, we are filing this report down and trying to send to the INEC in order to see it as a report in challenging all these things. You see, the clout in the election at the coalition center, they buy a lot of certain things. But we know that in our own organization, we need to write a report and send to the INEC for the request of these things.
They further alleged that there were sporadic gunshots to scare voters away, cases of overvoting and vote buying, as well as other forms of irregularities across the state. The group maintained that what they presented is part of the summary of the irregularities observed throughout the election process. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Residents of Lagos State have resolved to stay united and foster the spirit of oneness despite ethnic sentiments and divisive rhetoric that characterized the 2023 elections in the state. They made this known while reacting to the just concluded 2023 general election in the country, especially in Lagos State. The report.
In the build-up to the March 18 governorship and House of Assembly election, tensions were high in Lagos and campaigns for the state's top job degenerated to racial and ethnic slurs. Issues of identity crisis and originality in terms of family heritage dominated social discussions to the extent that parties physically assaulted themselves. But with the elections now won and lost, residents of Lagos State have resolved to heal and promote the spirit of brotherliness despite differences in tribe and tongue.
On my side in the Ikeja here, we voted for the party because all of us belong to APC. That's the area I'm going to talk about it. So, but other local government, they complained that they did not vote for the right person they wanted to vote for. But, well, it has gone. So everybody should take it like that. We have a working government already. APC is the working government. So we need to concate. Everybody, we need to just let us have the unity we're supposed to have in Lagos State so that it will accommodate everybody.
We are not united. Like we are always saying one Nigeria, but when the election is around the corner, people will be saying, some people will be saying Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo. If you are Yoruba, you have to vote for Yoruba. But what I think is that the problem that Nigeria is facing right now is not about tribe anymore. Like even if I see a Yoruba man that is not doing well and I see a Igbo man that is doing well, I would definitely vote for a Igbo man.
Others believe that as members of one Nigeria, citizens ought to uphold the indivisibility upon which the foundation of the country was laid.
Let them stop saying that we are one Nigeria. I don't see unity in this country. When one tribe will fighting one tribe because of maybe vote or because of election, so we're supposed to be united. We're supposed to be one Nigeria, but based on what I'm seeing now, there is nothing like that. The truth should be told. There is nothing like one Nigeria. And it shouldn't be so. We're supposed to be united, despite the country, despite the ethnic group or whatever. We're supposed to be united.
We're supposed to be one. Like we're supposed to come together as a nation. We're supposed to work together so that things in Nigeria will move forward. We can see in the election that are being held, we can see that some people, they really vote for ethnicity. Like I'm Igbo, I'm Yoruba. And some people are even fighting because of I had a news that was on post online that some places the Yoruba people will not allow the Igbo people to vote. Maybe because they want to vote for their own ethnic group. So all those things is not making sense. We're supposed to come together and work together so that this country will move forward.
They, however, appeal to aggrieved parties to accept the outcome of elections and continue life peaceably with one another or seek legal redress.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has declared the candidate of the Social Democratic Party SDP, Solomon Akwashiki, winner of the Lafia Central Constituency of Nasarawa State House of Assembly in the March 18 governorship and state assembly elections. The returning officer for the House of Assembly election, Professor Samaila Usman, who announced the results in Lafia, the state capital, on Thursday, said Akwashiki scored 17,861 votes to defeat his closest rival and candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Babanlungu Ahmed, who polled 17,113. Collation of results at the constituency was declared inconclusive owing to irregularities in computation of the results arising from Shiroma and Gayam wards of the constituency. When the results were finally announced, some agents for political parties who took part in the election, including the PDP and the APC, declined to sign the results sheets. House of Assembly candidates of the People's Democratic Party in the March 18 governorship and House of Assembly elections from Kwara Central have vowed to challenge the outcome of the election in court. Speaking at a press conference in Ilorin, the PDP candidate for Ilorin Northwest constituency, Isiaka Saka Saadu, accused the ruling All Progressives Congress of intimidation and harassment during the election. Saadu, who was flanked by 5 other colleagues and party stalwarts, appealed for calm from party supporters in the state, noting that they were studying the outcome of the results of the election from each polling unit with a view to ensuring that the right thing is done.
We, the candidate of Kwara State Democratic Party in the last election from the Central Senatorial District, with deep sense of humility, want to acknowledge the commitment and support enjoyed from our teeming youth and stakeholders during the recently concluded gubernatorial and state assembly election in Kwara State. Your resilience and resistance to intimidation, harassment, shenanigans, put up by the ruling party was indeed notable and well appreciated. Therefore, we are appealing for calmness and with all assurance to forge ahead in getting our mandate, inshallah, having in the process of understanding the outcome of the result from each polling unit across the world and various constituents accordingly. Hence, our stand to genuinely get our mandate as laid down by the electoral guidelines. As our priority at the moment, we will not be silenced to watch our mandate stolen overnight because the will of the people must prevail.
The People's Democratic Party on Thursday suspended former governor of Ekiti State Ayodele Fayose, former president of the Senate Pius Anyim, Professor Dennis Itiaba, and Aslam Aliyu. The suspension, which takes effect from Thursday, was arrived at after an extensive review of the affairs of the party pursuant to provisions of the 2017 PDP Constitution as amended. The PDP also referred the governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, to the National Disciplinary Committee over his reported involvement in anti-party activities. Meanwhile, the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose, has described his purported suspension from the PDP by the Senator Iyorchia Ayu-led National Working Committee of the party as the last kick of a dead horse. Fayose, who reacted to the suspension through his spokesperson, Lere Olayinka, said that Ayu and his cohorts are only entertaining themselves with the purported suspension as their latest comedy skit. He said in a matter of days, the inglorious tenure of Ayu as national chairman of the PDP will become history and the party will enjoy a new lease of life. Now, wheat farmers in Jigawa State say that this year's harvest is threatened by a number of factors, raising fear of possible food shortage. Trust TV Northwest correspondent Idris Jibrin, who spoke to the farmers in Jigawa, reports that many fertile lands earmarked for wheat production could not be cultivated this year due to the lack of improved seeds and other requirements.
Annually, Aliko Umar used to be assisted with improved seeds, fertilizer, irrigation machines and other wheat farming equipment by the government. But 2023 wheat farming season seems different.
Most of our farmers are very willing to farm and they have done a lot. The federal government was not able to arrange for giving out loans to farmers. Unfortunately, due to so many reasons. In the first place, there is this transition of government from the current administration to the next that is just coming in. That is one. Secondly, the money, the loan could not be disbursed to the farmers because I will tell you that some of the farmers are not willing to pay the previous loans given to them.
There are many other farmers in Jigawa State who are currently harvesting their wheat, but they say the yield is very poor compared to the last year's farming season.
We were promised fertilizer, but they didn't give us. In fact, as of now, we can't even afford to buy the fertilizer because of its high price. In most cases, we don't even get money to pay our workers.
Babu cash.
According to the Wheat Farmers Association in the state, the inability of government to assist in this year's wheat farming, the CBN new Naira policy, among other problems, have worsened the situation this year.
Well, the only thing is to give thanks to God, because farmers in Jigawa State, like always, have tried their best to farm. But unfortunately, there were promises made, which are not fulfilled. They promised to give them loans so that they can improve the wheat farming, but they didn't give them.
The implication of this has already led to an increase in the price of wheat across many parts of the country. And there are growing concerns that many farmers may stay away from wheat cultivation during the forthcoming wheat season farming, unless, of course, government provides them with certified seeds and other farming equipment. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Jigawa.
Residents of Yola, the Adamawa state capital, on Thursday joined Muslim Ummah the world over to observe the first day of the 2023 Ramadan fast. Salis Lawan reports that beyond the biting challenges of cash and fuel scarcity, residents had to deal with an unfriendly weather in the state. The report.
This is the outlook of the first day of Ramadan in Yola, the Adamawa state capital. The weather this Thursday is 39 degrees Celsius. Businesses are on the move. However, the sunny weather hurts. Ramadan is the holiest of all months when the adherents abstain from food, drinks, and all worldly pleasures, in order to forge closer ties with Almighty Allah. It is written, is most forgiven and most merciful. Abu Bakr Muhammad and his family are at the Jimeta vegetable market, popularly called Kasuangwari, and he says prices of vegetable when compared to his last shopping there have changed.
A week ago on Wednesday, and some of the things we bought, like the tatase, pepper, for the same amount we got today, was much more then and much lesser now.
It's much lesser?
Yes, at the same rate, yeah. It's more lesser, and they said things seem to be going up. It was quite a struggle today to get cash. On the bank, I was there at Access Bank. 6 o'clock this morning, I got a number, 585. I went by around 9, and I got money around 11:30. That's why I'm here.
Ramadan fast is indeed one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Stakeholders say a lot need to be done to get Nigerians out of the difficulty posed by the Naira redesign and cashless policy to enable them effectively participate in the fast. Salis Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
Islamic clerics have called on Muslim faithful to take advantage of the month of Ramadan and imbibe the approach of utmost worship, faith strengthening, and spiritual preparation to absorb the divine upliftment that comes with the month. They made the call as Muslims around the world commence fasting in the holy month of Ramadan on Thursday in Abuja. The report.
It's the first day of the month of Ramadan, and Muslims are preoccupied with their daily routines, in addition to other expectations that come with a typical fasting day that requires one to stay away from food and drinks until breaking of fast.
Well, fasting should be approached with reservation of energy to come up with different acts of ibadah, to have savings because it gobs a lot of money, to have spiritual preparation whereby your heart is readily available to absorb the divine illuminations, and at the same time is to prepare your timetable, how you want to spend your days during the month of Ramadan. Both days and night are very important. You are expected to recite the Quran, different kind of azkar, and so on, to observe the Hajj during the night of Ramadan. All these are expected to be prepared for because there are 6 P in this regard. If you do it well, you have it well. Number 1 is proper prior preparation prevent poor performance.
Fasting in the holy month of Ramadan is, however, not prescribed for every Muslim, as there are people exempted from performing this important pillar of Islam.
The minors, those who are underage, that's what we call mukallaf. Mukallaf is an, an adult. When you have not grown up to the state of adult, you are exempted. The elderly ones, those who are old to the extent that medically they are not advised to fast. Nursing mothers and heavy women, those who are pregnant, are also exempted. they are to feed the needy. So those who embark on a rigorous journey, not someone who's flying from Abuja to Lagos, that's not what I'm talking about now. People who embark on journey that it seems to be difficult. Their movement from one place to another would not allow them to fast. So we exempt them from fasting. Those who are out to make their daily bread through a hard labor, very hard labor, that if they don't do it, they won't be able to survive. And this hard labor will not allow them to fast. Islam, with its consideration and its beauty, has allowed them to drop fasting and be feeding the needy.
Muslims are therefore enjoined to imbibe the teachings and ways of life of the Messenger of Allah, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, while maintaining piety before, during, and after the month of Ramadan. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at why driving license expires on date of birth. Details of this and more after the break.
Are you a creative, a videographer, producer, or content creator? Trust TV is calling for entries for a short documentary and skit competition. To qualify for this entry, send your short documentary or skit of not more than 5 minutes on health or any social-related issues to creatives@trusttv.com. Using this format, title, duration, first name, phone number, and a summary of the production of not more than 1 paragraph. Winners will be engaged for production for Trust TV, and prizes will be won by the overall winner and the first and second runner-up. Opens from 19th March 2023 to 31st March 2023.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
That's great. Good to see you.
Welcome back. This is the News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at the top stories again. EFCC chairman wants review of Electoral Act to strengthen fight against vote buying. UK court convicts Ike Ekweremadu, wife Beatrice, for organ harvesting. Now, coordinator of the Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Council in Zamfara State, Senator Kabiru Marafa, has condemned the killing of 2 persons, destruction and vandalization of campaign offices in Gusau, where valuables were carted away by suspected hoodlums. He said this shortly after conducting an on-the-spot assessment of the extent of damage of the APC presidential campaign offices in Gusau, the state capital. The report.
Zamfara State is one of the states that recorded violence during the governorship and state assembly elections. Suspected political thugs embarked on looting of valuable assets after the ruling APC lost the governorship election. Senator Kabir Marafa described the damage and destruction of the campaign offices as unfortunate, calling on political leaders to call their supporters to order to prevent escalation of wanton destruction.
But what baffles everybody is the level of damage that we witness here. And most baffling is the fact that we won presidential elections in the country. And that calls for bigger celebration. And in Zamfara, not only winning the presidential elections, but we also gave one of the highest contributions to the success of the president-elect and his deputy. And we did celebrate it. And another thing is, APC is still in power in Zamfara, as at the time of the declaration of the presidential election and today. But not even a single signboard of PDP or any other political party was broken. Nothing. I repeat, we won the presidential elections, which calls for bigger celebration. 37 times than what they did, because the president won the whole country. And we have 36 states plus Abuja, that is 37. But not a single person was touched. But in Zamfara, now violence was unleashed to innocent people of our party.
Dauda Lawal Dere, candidate of the People's Democratic Party, defeated incumbent Zamfara State Governor Bello Matawale during the governorship election in the state.
The South-South Youth Initiative has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission to cancel all unverified election results in Rivers State, describing the process as not only fraudulent but also below expectations. National President of the initiative, Meba Oscar, made the call while addressing journalists in Port Harcourt. The Rivers.
Rivers residents went to the governorship election with the hope that the deployment of beavers, which is believed to be a perfect antidote to the electoral malpractices in the state, will ensure that the result of the poll reflects the people's will. For the South-South Youth Initiative, what transpired across the state, if allowed to stand, is purely a betrayal of the trust of millions of voters by INEC. The National President of Youth Initiative, Imebe Oscar, at the briefing called for the cancellation of the state governorship elections, alleging that the elections were fraught with irregularities, which he noted discredited the outcome. He further alleged that the results declared by INEC are not a reflection of what transpired at various polling units on Saturday, March 18.
Since there was not election in Rivers State, since the election in Rivers State was characterized by violence and intimidations, Tankrea going to communities to tell people, if you are not going to vote for the PDP candidate, please don't come out. And a lot of people was intimidated. Those who thought it was just a joke was intimidated at the polling unit. At this point, it is in INEC guidelines that when there is a situation like this, you cannot continue with the election. So we want INEC to cancel the election. The election that took place in Rivers State is condemnable in the highest level, and we do not see this as election. So at this point, we are requesting that INEC should do the needful. That is, if INEC want to prove to Rivers people that they wasn't bribed to conduct this election, because the whole finger is pointed to INEC, that INEC was bribed because they refused to adhere to their own guidelines.
Oscar also called on the Inspector General of Police to address the alleged misconduct by some policemen during the governorship and state assembly elections in the state.
Police was not supposed to accompany any politicians to polling units, but police were seen all around the polling unit accompanying politicians that came to vote and even came to hijack ballot boxes. The police, our security agency that was supposed to protect the right of the electorate, was also being seen helping the politicians to perpetrate this crime. And that's why we're condemning the aspect of the police. We want the IG to switch into actions. The investigation that the Commissioner of Police in Rivers State has spelled out is not enough.
The candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Sim Fubara, who polled 302,614 votes, has since been returned as the winner of the 2023 governorship election in Rivers State.
In a bid to reduce the frequency of medical tourism by top government officials, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the redesignation of the State House Clinic to a full-fledged medical center. This follows the upgrade of the facilities at the main clinic and completion of the multi-billion naira VIP wing of the medical center. The state-of-the-art clinic is expected to offer Medicare for the country's president, vice president, visiting heads of state and other high-ranking officials of government. Kehinde Amodu reports.
President Muhammadu Buhari had in November 2021 approved a site for the construction of the VIP wing of the State House Clinic within the precincts of the Presidential Villa Abuja. This is the final inspection of the facility before the commissioning of the project by the President before the end of his government, with barely 67 days to go. The quality of equipment already fitted in the 5-star medical center and the 13-bed edifice is impressive, and the pace of work commendable.
It has been delivered dead on time and on budget, so there has been no overrun, and the facilities here are world class. We're looking forward to the commissioning very soon and to putting this facility to full use.
The primary aim of a facility like this is to reduce the frequency of medical trips abroad by top government functionaries, especially aging former heads of state.
Peradventure, there is an emergency. We need a facility that will provide the kind of care that is internationally acknowledged and recognized, and a standard kind of care before even that particular head of state or government is evacuated out of the country. And this facility provides for that. We have aging former presidents. I believe that they would have access to these facilities. The sitting president will have access to it. And other top government functionaries, as might be prescribed by the administrative structure that will be put in place.
The State House Clinic, medical center then, there in the other part of Asokoro, that had challenges about equipment, about aging, issues, resources, funding, everything. It was scaled down from medical center to a State House medical clinic. Now he has approved, with everything that has been improved in the other place, and with this state-of-the-art facility, we can no longer operate this as a clinic. It is now State House Medical Center.
While this project is well conceived and the money deployed to complete it well spent, it is ironic that the structure is being completed at the tail end of the Buhari administration. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amodu, Trust TV News.
In order to sustain peaceful and harmonious coexistence among themselves, villages under Fada in Guma local government area in Benue State have resolved to share a fishing festivity. Now, men, women, and the youth gather at the river once every year for the fishing festivity, which has now become a ritual for promotion of peaceful living. Jimmy Azande reports.
Fada is an island community in South Kansu ward of Guma local government area in Benue State. According to the inhabitants, the reason for festive fishing in the axis of River Logo is to promote communal living and for economic advantages. The men, women, young and old have come out in their numbers for the festivity, which many describe as unique. It is strictly an internal peace mechanism.
Fishing festival is an opportunity for our people from different communities to come together and gather as a family, so that in the end of the day, they will have food to put on their table, and they will have money for them to take care of some of their financial problems. If you have a chance to come to my land, come especially within this particular season between March and April, so that you come and participate in this fishing festival and see how our people celebrate and what nature has given to them.
The Fada villagers are not allowed into the river for fishing until it is formally announced by the custodians, who extend invitation to all the surrounding villages. According to the inhabitants, no one is prevented from fishing. With this peace initiative, the communities have continued to live happily for decades without violence.
This is a yearly festival and a platform that unites people from all the villages in Fada. We have been on this for long, and it has healed our people. I am always happy to attend and participate in this festivity as a son of Sav. It brings joy and economic advantage to our people. I go fishing with this net with the assistance of my son. It is a worthwhile experience and everyone is happy.
The crisis over natural resources like rivers for fishing and land for cultivation are regular occurrences in Tiv Nation. However, useful peace-building mechanism like this communal fishing encourages mutual living. The villager said through this gathering, intermarriages are made possible and differences negotiated for harmonious coexistence.
Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria has made passionate appeal to Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike to intervene to stop planned demolition of a property belonging to Dar Communication PLC. A letter signed by Bond Chairman John Ugbe implores Wike to quickly intervene to stop the demolition. Bond reminded the governor that the Dar property located at Uzoba in Port Harcourt is subject of litigation, asking him to allow justice to take its course. The organization asked the governor to pursue an out-of-court settlement as a media-loving governor. Rivers State government has served 48 hours quit notice to Dar Communications, owners of African Independent Television, to vacate part of its premises in Port Harcourt. The demolition notice is contained in a letter dated March 20, 2023 and signed by the Permanent Secretary of the Rivers State Ministry of Works, Bere Dennis Emenike. Now, the General Officer commanding 1 Division Nigerian Army, Major General Taurid Lagbaja, says that Nigeria has recorded over 2,056 cases of fire incidents with a loss of over 1 trillion naira worth of properties in 2022. Lagbaja gave the figures during a fire prevention and management sensitization seminar held at the headquarters 1 Division Nigerian Army, Kaduna, on Thursday. The GOC, represented by Brigadier General Ugochukwu Ugeleka, explained that the seminar was part of the yearly calendar of the Army to engage barracks communities on fire prevention. According to him, there has been an increase in cases of fire due to population growth, unstable electricity, negligence and illegal electrical connections, among others. Lagbaja said that the Nigerian Army was not left out of fire incidents that had damaged its property and endangered the lives of the personnel and their families in barracks and cantonments. He therefore said that it was imperative to sustain sensitization on fire prevention and management in all military barracks. Operatives of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in Gujungu town of Jigawa State have arrested at least 3 youths suspected of theft and conspiracy. The suspects are Umar Abdullahi, aged 18, Kabiru Musa, aged 25, and Shafiu Hamza, aged 25. The trio were arrested in connection with theft of solar street light batteries. A statement issued on Thursday by the command's public relations officer, Adamu Shehu, said that the trio connived and stole solar street light batteries along Hadeja Road, Gujungu town, put in place by the Jigawa State Ministry of Works to light up the town and provide security. According to the statement, the suspect confessed to the crime and will be charged to court after investigations are concluded. The Defense Headquarters says Nigerian troops have eliminated 46 terrorists and other criminals across northern Nigeria in the last 2 weeks. The Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Musa Damadami, said this during the bi-weekly news conference on the operations of the armed forces on Thursday in Abuja. Damadami said that the troops also apprehended more than 50 terrorists and other criminals and also rescued 97 kidnapped victims within the period. In the northeast, Damadami said that troops neutralized 18 Boko Haram ISWAP terrorists, arrested 6 logistics suppliers, and rescued 119 abducted civilians, among others. In the north central, the defense spokesman said that troops of Operation Safe Haven and Wild Stroke apprehended 28 bandits, criminals, and political thugs during the March 18 election across the zone, adding that a total of 8 bandits were eliminated in different operations, while 5 kidnapped victims were rescued. In the northwest, the Madami said that the troops of Operation Hadarin Daji within the period neutralized 14 terrorists, arrested 12 logistics suppliers and rescued 16 abducted civilians, adding that the troops recovered large cache of arms, hard drugs, assorted food items, and the sum of 9,670 naira. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, says that it will examine 176,408 candidates in its 2023 mock examination scheduled to hold on Thursday, March 30th. The head Public Affairs and Protocol of JAMB, Fabian Benjamin, disclosed this in a statement made available to journalists in Abuja on Thursday. Benjamin said that the board had also directed candidates who registered for the 2023 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination optional mock UTME that their notification slips will be ready for printing from Thursday, March 23rd. Now, Benjamin said that the board had also reiterated that the scheduled commencement time for the examination was sacrosanct, as there will be zero tolerance for malpractice. He advised candidates against going into the examination halls with prohibited items such as wristwatches, calculators, flash drives, phones, among others. Federal Road Safety Corps has explained the reason why expiry of driver's license is linked to date of birth of users, contrary to the belief that users are shortchanged on validity of the document. The FRSC Deputy Corps Commander Abdurrahman Bima speaks to Noel Samson on the main logic behind the linkage and other issues.
A driver's license is a legal authorization or the official document confirming such an authorization for a specific individual to drive or operate one or more types of motorized vehicles, such as motorcycles, cars, trucks, or buses, and such document is renewable upon expiring depending on the country. It can be every 3 years or 5 years. In Nigeria, expiry date of license is automatically linked to the date of birth, and the Federal Road Safety Corps explains why.
Individual, like I've just said, most Nigerians, as we know, celebrate their date of birth. And as such, when you obtain a driver's license, says for 3 years or 5 years, you already know if you do it today, in the next 5 years, when you'll be celebrating your birthday, you are already aware that your license is due for renewal. You don't have to even wait until that date. By law, a month to that date, you should start processing the renewal of the driver's license.
He also addressed the issue of closing hours for FRSC officials, as it has always been a subject of speculation.
People don't know our schedules of duties. As far as operation is concerned, we work 24 hours. We work 24 hours. Our patrolmen work from 6 in the morning, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the evening. Patrol operations close by 6 p.m. If there is to be night patrol, the night patrol extends beyond that period. It extends beyond that period. We don't work on the highway 24 hours, but our services are there 24 hours. Services like rescue services. We have our standby team in all our offices, operational offices. In case of emergency, they can be called and they move to the scene. Generally, we operate on highways, but we don't operate in residential areas.
Bima advised drivers not to be on the roads with expired license. The quickest way to remembering license expiry, he said, is date of birth. Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the House of Representatives has called on the Central Bank of Nigeria to direct all commercial banks in the country to immediately overhaul their existing online banking platforms to ease electronic banking operations. The call followed a motion by Representative Sagios Ogun at plenary. Now, Ogun stated that there has been an increase in the use of online and electronic banking services across the country in the wake of the recent Naira redesign and cash withdrawal limit policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The lawmaker, however, noted that the use of online or internet banking services in the past 3 months has been characterized by varying degrees of hitches.
The House also acknowledges that the use of online or internet banking services by Nigerians in the past 3 months or thereabout has been characterized by varying degrees of hitches, ranging from unsuccessful electronic bank transfers, point of sale, POS, service failure, and a host of others. The House is disturbed that the ineffectiveness or difficulty in using internet banking services across the online banking platforms of most commercial banks in Nigeria has brought untold hardship, suffering, and difficulties on Nigerians in the past 3 months.
Time now to take a look at Business Update with Chiamaka Nwafo.
The federal government has announced that the proposed national carrier, Nigerian Air, will fly before May 29, 2023. Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, disclosed this at the ongoing National Aviation Stakeholders Forum 2023 in Abuja on Thursday. Sirika, who said he had thought Emirates, Lufthansa, Qatar Airlines would emerge as the preferred bidder for the Nigerian Air project, however said he was glad Ethiopian Airlines Group Consortium eventually emerged. The minister said the benefits Nigeria stands to derive from the establishment of the national carrier are reduced capital flight from Nigeria, optimal benefit of Baza and Sotum, and development of an aviation hub. He added that the national carrier will contribute to the GDP, facilitate hospitality and tourism, facilitate growth and development of the Nigerian agricultural sector, and create jobs around the agro-cargo terminals. CIC, Nigeria's currency in circulation, fell to a record low of 982 billion naira in February 2023, down from 1.39 trillion naira recorded in January 2023, representing the lowest level since November 2008. This is according to data obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The total amount mopped up since the policy to remove old naira notes from circulation is an estimated 2 trillion naira in 2 months. The total currency in circulation as of December 2022 was just over 3 trillion naira. The decline followed the CBN's aggressive monetary policy to phase out old currency notes and introduce limited new notes into the economy. Meanwhile, currency outside banks rose to 843.1 billion naira in February compared to 792.1 billion naira recorded in January of 2023. And finally, in stocks. The stock market on Thursday closed on a bearish note, occasioned by profit-taking in 17 stocks. All share index dipped by 0.02% to close at 54,924.08 points. The market capitalization closed at 29.921 trillion naira, down by 0.02%, shedding 6 billion naira. The market break closed negative as 14 equities emerged as gainers against 17 equities that declined in their share prices. An aggregate of 117.9 million units of shares was traded in 2,575 deals valued at 1.4 billion naira. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Nwafo.
On the foreign scene, the Ethiopian government on Thursday appointed a Tigrayan rebel figure, Gachechu Reda, to head the interim government of the northern region, a major step in the implementation of the agreement signed by the two sides after 2 years of civil war. Rather, an advisor to the leader of the Tigray People's Liberation Front, Debretsion Gabriel Michael, was previously the spokesperson for the movement. On Wednesday, the Ethiopian MPs removed the TPLF from the list of terrorist entities as provided for in the peace agreement signed by the rebel movement with the Ethiopian government last November in Pretoria. The removal of the terrorist designation paved the way for the establishment of an inclusive interim Tigrayan regional government, also provided for in the agreement to be led by the TPLF until elections can be held. In accordance with the peace agreement, the fighting has stopped while basic services such as electricity, telecommunications and banks have begun to be re-established in Tigray, and access to the region, which was virtually cut off from the world for nearly 2 years, has been reopened, notably to the humanitarian aid on which 90% of its 6 million inhabitants depend. Let's now take a look at sports updates with Adeni Ajishafe.
Nigerian Premier Football League champions Rivers United continued their good form on Wednesday as they recorded another victory against Rangers International of Enugu in the rescheduled match. The Pirate of Rivers have been consistent in their performance both in the CAF Confederation Cup and in the domestic scene. They qualified for the quarter-final of the Confederation Cup despite playing out a 2-2 draw against visiting Derby Noires of Congo. Rivers United hosted the Flying Antelopes in match day 8 of the Nigerian Premier Football League at Adoke Amasiamaka Stadium in Port Harcourt through Njiman Wagwa's lone strike in the second half to give the Pride of Rivers a 1-0 victory. Rivers United are now second on the log with 18 points, just 1 point behind Lobby Stars in Group B of the MPFL Abridged League season. And still in football, Super Eagles head coach Jose Pizarro has picked Napoli striker Victor Osimhen as Super Eagles penalty taker. The Portuguese tactician drilled Osimhen and Kenneth Omerio on penalties in a 20-minute training. Osimhen converted 8 out of 10 penalties, while Omerio was able to score 6 in 10 penalties. The 3 goalkeepers in camp, Francis Uzoho, Victor Sochima, and Kingsley Aneagboso, were rotated with each keeper in between the 6-4-5 penalties. Much concentration was on Francis Uzoho, who was in the goal post for 10 penalties and saved 3. The Super Eagles will face the Jotos of Guinea-Bissau on Friday by 5 p.m. at MKO Abiola Stadium. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
And that's a wrap on the news hour for tonight. Watch more via all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Ramadan Kareem.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.